Carvana earnings report was just released a few days ago and is a complete disaster. And this has major implications, not only for Carvana, but for the overall used car market. Before getting into this video though, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. And if you want to see more content just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post videos every single day. Let's get into it. Let's dive right into these disastrous headline figures. So first off, gross revenue for quarter 3 of 2022 came in at $359 million, which is a 31% decrease compared to quarter 3 of 2021. And on top of that, Carvana is selling fewer cars. They sold just over 100,000 units in quarter 3 of 2022, which is an 8% decline compared to quarter 3 of 2021. Their average profit per car has decreased by over $1,000. They're down to $3,500 in profit per car. So they're selling fewer cars and they're making a lot less money, and investors are fleeing. So year to date, Carvana is already down by like 96% with their stock price. But as of me filming this video, in the last 24 hours, they've lost like almost 40% in total share price. They're down to $8 per share. It's an absolute disaster. First off, Carvana is a used car retailer in the middle of a declining market. We're pretty much seeing the complete collapse of the used car market. Over the last 6 months, the used car market has declined by about 1% per week on average. And in just the last week, there are certain segments within the used car world that have declined by 2 to 3%. And so Carvana, being a dedicated used car retailer, is obviously going to struggle because all of their inventory is consistently losing value every single day, which means that their profitability is going to consistently decrease every single day. Another big problem for Carvana is they are simply just overpaying for cars. They've been doing this for a very long time because they're trying to buy customers. And so they will literally pay people retail value for their car. And you can see that doesn't make any sort of logical sense because that means that they have no room for profit. And so what Carvana will attempt to do is we'll charge over retail value for that car initially. It won't sell, and so then they'll have to naturally lower the price until someone bites. And usually people bite once that car is significantly under retail value because it's a Carvana car. And then Carvana ends up losing money on that unit, and you can't stay in business if you continue to lose money on units. Again, you can only buy customers for so long before you have to change things within your business model to where you can actually be profitable. And the other problem with this whole overpaying for cars is they're frankly overpaying for junk. Now, Carvana does have a reconditioning process, which is not necessarily the best, but they at least recondition cars. And so you have this situation where, again, they're paying retail value for these cars, and then they have to pay to recondition those cars and get them detailed. And with the average used car, most places usually have to pay at least $1,000 to $2,000 per car in terms of mechanical reconditioning. And then you're talking about, another few $100 in detailing costs. And so right off the bat, if Carvana is paying full retail for these cars, they already own them for, $1,000 to $2,000 to $3,000 over retail. And then they have to charge some sort of markup on top of that, which isn't going to work. And so naturally, when they actually end up selling the car below retail, they are losing thousands of dollars per unit. It doesn't make any sense. So they need to stop overpaying for cars, but it looks like it's a little bit too late for that. And that actually leads me to another issue that's plaguing Carvana, and that's the fact that they simply have crappy inventory. And what I mean is they don't have a good inspection process for the cars that they are purchasing from people. They have someone that just goes out with a little checklist and they just go check, 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 check. Okay, here's your check for full retail on your car. Whereas a place like CarMax or a traditional car dealership will have someone that is dedicated to inspecting cars. Like a traditional car dealership, it's called a used car manager, and they'll go and inspect the car right in person. And then a lot of times they'll even drive the car to make sure that everything's functioning properly. And these people have typically been in the car industry for, years and sometimes even decades. And so they know a lot of different issues that could arise with cars that they could very easily find out right off the bat. Like I worked at a truck dealership, and our used car manager knew that, diesel trucks often have blow by if they have higher mileage, if someone doesn't take good care of them. And so he knew exactly how to spot that out, so that if someone was coming in trying to trade in a truck with that, then we would obviously offer them a lot less because a lot of work would need to be put into their truck to make it so that it would be frontline ready and be able to be sold to a customer. That doesn't happen at Carvana. Again, they just do their little checklist from someone that doesn't know what they're looking at. They pay full retail for the car, and then they get these complete clunkers that have tons of issues, and then they have to overpay in terms of reconditioning costs because they have to fix all these issues on these cars, or a lot of times they don't even fix the issues on the cars. And then you as a buyer are expected to just trust Carvana because they have their return policy, and that only works so many times, right? And if you're buying a car, ultimately you most likely are financing it, and so you've already had your credit pulled, and if you've already had your credit pulled, then you've had your credit decreased, right? And so you're in a situation where you just bought a car from Carvana that's a complete clunker, you're returning it, but you still get hurt as a consumer, and so that's not going to feel good for anyone. But the point that I'm trying to make here is they have a bunch of really crappy cars, and so until they put a filter on this and start making sure that they're not buying complete junk, people are just going to steer clear. Like, online pictures can show, part of the story with the car, but you need a lot more than a few pictures on a car for people to really know the actual condition that it's in. Something else that's causing issues for Carvana is the fact that they decided to build their business around spending stupid amounts of money. Yes, I understand stuff like the car vending machines are super iconic, but they're also super expensive. And so when you have a business that's in a market that's declining, that's struggling to turn a profit, why would you continue to spend money on crazy expensive infrastructure? What Carvana should really do is not do the whole vending machine thing and instead just buy empty parking lots to park their used cars. And yeah, they can still do their delivery service because that's a part of their business, but that would obviously lower their overhead, which would help them be more profitable. So they need to stop spending tons of money on stupid projects. Then the last problem that Carvana still has that pretty much everyone knows about at this point is their whole title issue and losing their dealer's license in several states. Carvana is struggling to get titles from customers that are trading in their vehicles or selling their vehicles to Carvana, and Carvana is going and reselling those cars without titles, which you can't do. And so a lot of states are pulling Carvana's dealer's license, and this is basically decreasing the areas that Carvana can obviously sell a car in. And so not only are they, again, in a declining market, but they also are losing the places that they can actually sell cars in. Like, that's not going to work out for any business. What does this mean for Carvana? Well, mark my words, they are going out of business. Like, they are done for. They're probably going to file bankruptcy in the near future and then go out of business shortly after. Nobody wants to invest in the company anymore, right? Their stock price is down by over 96% year to date. They're running a business that has insanely high expenses and insanely low amounts of revenue. They only had one quarter where they're actually profitable. Other than that, they haven't been profitable in their entire existence. The business model just doesn't make any sort of logical sense. And so, yeah, Carvana's going out at this point. I don't see any way of actually salvaging the company because direct to consumer sales with used cars just doesn't work. And then finally, in terms of what this means for the overall car market, well, I actually don't think it's going to have as much of an effect as I initially thought because of how few cars Carvana sells in comparison to the overall used car market. I mean, when they're selling, only 100,000 units per quarter, whereas the entire used car market is in the millions of sales per quarter, like, yeah, it's going to have an impact when they go out of business and they have to liquidate their inventory and, they kind of flood the market with some cars. But other than that, I think it's going to be one of those things where everyone's just going to cheer that Carvana's finally gone. And so my advice to you at this point is I probably wouldn't buy a car from Carvana because, well, good luck getting a title and good luck with a car that's probably not going to be in the best possible condition. But if you have a car that you're looking to sell, then, well, look no further because they will be more than happy to pay over retail value for your piece of junk. And so it's a great place to offload something. With that being said, I want you guys to let me know what you think about this whole Carvana collapse situation. And if you want to see more videos just like this, then like I said, I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. I'll see ya.